Chapter 4: Rulers and Buildings. The kings of the 8th and the 18th centuries built two kinds of structures: A. Forts, palaces and tombs; B. Temples, mosques, tanks, wells, caravansarais and bazaars. The kings were expected to care for their subjects, and by making structures for their use and comfort, rulers hoped to win their praise. Construction activity was also carried out by others, including merchants. They built temples, mosques and wells. However, domestic architecture, large mansions, havelis, of merchants has survived only from the 18th century. It seems that all kings of the period built both religious and secular monuments. The architectural monuments that exist in different parts of the country give us a comprehensive look of the dynasties and rulers that ruled India. From monuments, we come to know whether it relates to a particular religion or was built as part of war strategies. Religious monuments tell us whether the people of that age were image worshippers or otherwise. From the inscriptions engraved on the monument, the scholars come to know the language which was in use at that time. The different type of architectures enables us to determine whether it bears any foreign influence. Several monuments clearly show the influence of Turkish architecture on Indian architecture. This also gives an insight into inter-country relations at that period of time. The nature of colors used to provide useful information about the availability and use of different minerals in that period. Different varieties of architecture. Qutub Minar. It is located at Mehrauli near Delhi. Qutub Minar is a soaring, 73 meters high Tower of Victory, built in 1193 by Qutbuddin Aibak immediately after the defeat of Delhi's last Hindu kingdom. The tower has 5 distinct stories, each marked by a projecting balcony. The first 3 stories are made of red sandstone, the 4th and 5th stories are of marble and sandstone. At the foot of the tower is the Quwwatul Islam Mosque, the first mosque to be built in India. No one can dispute that the tower is not only one of the finest monuments in India, but also in the world. Qutbuddin Aibak, the first Muslim ruler of Delhi, commenced the construction of the Qutub Minar in 1200 AD, but could only finish the basement. His successor, Iltutmish, added 3 more stories, and in 1368, Firoz Shah Tughlaq constructed the 5th and the last story. Vijay Stambh or the Tower of Victory was erected by Rana Kumbhai in 1440, to commemorate his victory over the combined forces of Malwa and Gujarat. Vijay Stambh is a 9-storied tower, rises to a height of 120 feet, 36.5 meters, and has a girth of 30 feet at the base. The elegant limestone structure is ornately carved and studded with splendid sculptures of Hindu deities. Places of worship. A large number of temples were constructed in North India during the early medieval period. The style of temple architecture was known as Nagara. A good example of this style is the group of temples at Khajuraho in Madhya Pradesh. These temples were built by the Chandela rulers. The Parshvanta temple, the Vishwanath temple and the Pandariya Mahadev temple were constructed in the Nagara style. The Sun temple at Konark at Puri is also illustrative of the Nagara style. Most of the temples constructed were dedicated to either Lord Vishnu or Lord Shiva. Like temples in South India, these temples also became centers of social and cultural life. They collected revenue from villages and took part in business activities. Some of them, such as the Somnath temple, were very rich. The Brihadeswara temple, also called the Rajarajeshwara temple, at Tanjore is the finest specimen of temple architecture under the Cholas. It is dedicated to Lord Shiva and was built by Raja Raj. A Chola is the early 11th century. Gol Gumbaz, Bijapur of Karnataka. It has 4 walls that enclose a majestic hall 1704 square meters in area. There are octagonal 7-story towers at each corners. The dome is said to be the world's second largest dome, built in 1659. Meenakshi Temple of Madurai, a present temple, was built in the 17th century. Its history goes back 2000 years. Its purams are profusely covered with colored statues. Tejpal Temple of Dilwara. The Tejpal Temple is the finest example of Jain architecture in India. This temple was built in 1230 by two brothers Tejpal and Vastupal. They were the ministers of a ruler in Gujarat. It is notable for its fantastic delicacy of marble carvings, especially on the ceilings. Charminar of Hyderabad. The Charminar is the most famous building of Hyderabad. It is a square, graceful hall open on all four sides. This 186 feet high building gets its name from its 55-meter high four Char Minars. Tomb of Sheikh Salim Chishti. Sheikh Salim Chishti was the saint patron of Akbar. The tomb is a marble building within the quadrangles of a mosque. Its cenotaph chamber is surrounded by a corridor with lace work in stone. People of all faiths come to this tomb to offer prayer for getting the blessings of the saint for fulfillment of their desires. Panch Mahal. It is an unusual 5-storied structure of open pavilion, one upon the other, with pillars and roofs. It has a pyramidal design with the biggest pavilion of 84 pillars at the base and the topmost with only 4 pillars, as the numbers diminish with each upper story and each pillar is of a different design. Vijayanagar. The capital of Vijayanagar Empire was Hampi. It has beautiful buildings, especially temples. The Vithala Swami Temple and the Hazara Temple, the Virupaksha Temple and the Hazara Rama Temple are fine specimens of temple architecture under the Vijayanagar rulers. Beautiful sculptures were carved on the walls of these temples. Akbar built many forts, palaces and tombs. The Agra Fort is an impressive structure, inside it a beautiful Jahangiri Mahal. The tomb of Humayun at Delhi is another fine example of the architectural style of this period. This tomb was built on a raised platform. It's situated in the middle of a garden. At the entrance of the tomb is a large gateway. The tomb has both Indian and Persian architectural features. Golden Temple in Amritsar. The Golden Temple in Amritsar is one of the holiest shrines of the Sikhs. The temple is surrounded by the lake which gave the town its name. It is over 400 years old. The temple was renovated by Maharaja Ranjit Singh in 1803. Its lower part is covered with marble. The upper half is covered with copper plate and with about 400 kilograms of pure gold leaf. Thus the shrine became famous as the Golden Temple. Case study: Shah Jahan and his patronage of architecture. The Mughal architecture reached perfection during the reign of Shah Jahan, the great person of architecture. He is often called the Engineer King as he built a large number of buildings. He was a perfectionist and looked into the minutest details of his building projects. The buildings constructed by him have the finest features of Indian, Persian and Central Asian architecture. Monuments constructed. The early buildings of Shah Jahan include the tomb of Jahangir, near Lahore, and the tomb of Noor Jahan. He also constructed many mosques. The Moti Masjid in Agra was completed in 1653. It is built entirely of white marble and has 3 domes. The Jama Masjid in Delhi was completed in 1656. It is the largest mosque in India. The well-balanced domes, decorated arches, tall minaret balconies and small pavilions in these 2 mosques them very striking and beautiful. Taj Mahal. The most famous monuments constructed by Shah Jahan is the Taj Mahal. He built it in memory of his wife, Mumtaz Mahal. The monument is as tall as a 20-story skyscraper. Over 20,000 laborers worked on it day and night. The Taj is a mix of several architectural styles. It is placed in the middle of a garden. It is built of white marble, which was obtained from Makrana in Rajasthan. Shah Jahan used the Pietra Daura ornamentation on white marble on a large scale in his favorite Taj. Marble screens, Pietra Daura inlay work and numerous chhatris add to the beauty of the building. The interior has the marble cenotaphs of Mumtaz Mahal and Shah Jahan. The cenotaphs are covered with pietra dura ornamentation. Originally, the cenotaphs were enclosed by a gold railing which was encrusted with pearls, rubies and diamonds. However, the gold railing has now been replaced by a marble one. The Taj Mahal reflects the glory of Mughal architecture. Red Fort in 1639, Shah Jahan laid the foundation of a new city, Shahjahanabad. He built the Red Fort here. It has numerous beautiful structures such as Diwan-e-Am, built in red sandstone. This was the place where the king held his court. Diwan-e-Khas, Shah Jahan's peacock throne was kept here. Shah Burj, it was used by the emperor for Jharokha Darshan. Khwabgah, it was the private chamber of the king. Rana Mahal, it was a palace for the women of the royal household. Takht-e-Tauzre, this throne, a celebrated work of art, was used for sitting in the court by Shah Jahan. The throne had an enameled canopy supported by 12 pillars, each of which bore 2 peacocks with diamonds, rubies and pearls, etc. stood between the birds of each pair. It took 7 years to complete at the cost of 1 crore of rupees. In 1739, Nader Shah, who invaded India, carried it away with him to Persia. Pre-Mughal dome versus Mughal dome. It is interesting to note the shape of the domes that tell the time of history. The earlier domes during the pre-Mughal times were flat or half domes, that is, they were a quarter circle or less than semicircle. As the builders became more skilled, the domes became larger until they became complete semicircle. Such domes are known full domes as in the Mughal period. Compare the domes of the Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq tomb and of Humayun tomb. But the Mughals went further. The domes became more than a semicircle, that is, they became bulbous. It looked like a bulb narrowing at the bottom, as the dome of the Taj Mahal. The Mughal dome was placed on a drum, a circular platform to raise the height of the dome. The dome was hidden by a great darwaza or doorway on each side. At first the dome had no lotus on it, only a metal crescent as in the Humayun's tomb, but later the top of the tomb was surmounted by a lotus as on the Taj Mahal. Earlier, there was a space around the dome on the roof. The space was filled up by chhatris or chapels as could be seen in the tomb of Sher Shah. But during the Mughals, the chapels disappeared as they prided on the huge imposing gateways on all the 4 sides of a building, that hid everything on the roof except the marble dome. Century onwards, and this style was known as Gothic. It was distinguished by high pointed arcs, the use of stained glass, scenes drawn from the Bible painted. They built tall spires and bell towers which were visible from a distance. The Church of Notre Dame in Paris is the one of the best known example of this architectural style. It was constructed during 12th and 13th centuries. Medieval period gave India a multicultural legacy with the fusing of Hindu and Muslim culture. With this inter-religious communities, a composite culture has developed and flourished in this period.